You know what I'm getting tired of as a rap fan? Controversy. Whether it be allegations or not, 9 times out of 10, it's always somebody who makes good music doing the most corniest shit known to man. And we all know in rap, more specifically in the underground scene, there's ton of examples of that. I'd literally be here all day. But before we get into that, what's up everyone? This is Aaron and I wanted to give my take on the saying separating an artist from the art. I always found an interesting thing to put in perspective, especially as someone who listens to a good amount of 9 times out of 10 horrible individuals. People may be in the defense of said rapper because they make good, even in some cases great music, but others are on the side where their horrible actions are so bad to the point they can't listen to the music no matter how good it is. Where I stand on this topic is, if you feel like the beliefs of an artist in question, you don't morally agree with it, but you still want to listen to the music, that is perfectly fine in my opinion. Unless it's them same beliefs are affecting the music aspect, which we will cover in a bit. Some of y'all may agree with that take, others may not. Y'all can let me know in the comments, but before we get into the meat and potatoes of the underground, y'all know we gotta cover Ye, because where do I even begin? I'm not gonna cover everything because literally I'd be here all day, but Kanye, or what he likes to be known as now, Ye, has been on a pure roll of straight nonsense this entire year. We're only 4 months in by the time of this recording. Well, he always been on nonsense since I was born pretty much, but like, it's cranked 10 times worse, possibly 20 times worse now. And like I said, we're only 4 months into the year, so he could possibly do worse, which is the crazy part. But so far he's done the following of outlandish tweets representing the KKK and wearing an N-word chain that I possibly can't say on here. Has a love-hate relationship with the Jews, saying fuck Virgil, calling out his peers, and many more that I'm missing. I mentioned earlier in the intro where as long as the choices are not affecting the music aspect of things, it's perfectly fine to separate the art from the artist, but Ye is one of those examples where it's literally affecting the art. Pretty sure we're all aware of the song World War III, and there's definitely some takeaways regarding that song. My main takeaway is there's a high chance Ye didn't write any of them lyrics. Well, he probably thought of them, but actually rapping them is a high chance that's unlikely due to the AI and nitrous. Not only that, which explains Vultures too, but literally, if you listen to the song, I'll add a little snippet if you haven't, it's inspired by Dave Blunt's. Put that in perspective. Kanye West making Dave Blunt's type music. I'm not trying to shit on Dave Blunt or anything, because ironically, his music is not that bad. But when you listen to the subject matter of an average Dave Blunt song, it's like if your average kick streamer decides to do a fusion dance with EDP 445, and boom, you got Dave Blunt. That description I just gave regarding Dave Blunt, that's literally the last person who should be around Ye, especially with the music he's putting out currently not even being good, or even being memorable. Fuck. Same old fucking. Now what I meant to say was his music's not being good or even memorable outside of a few songs due to the current brain rot regarding Ye. I'm not trying to justify Ye beliefs, rather be the old, especially the newer ones. I'm not trying to justify those at all, but at least back in the day when he had some sense, people was aware of the outlandish takes, but it wasn't as bad as it is now because at least the music backed up for it. Literally, the coping mechanism currently regarding Ye is, y'all know the one, say it with me now, he made Graduation. And that is true, he literally made Graduation, which could be considered one of the best rap albums of all time for a good amount of rap fans, including myself. But the AI, the nitrous, the offensive baiting mentality he got going on currently,
A little bit of animosity there.
I'm evil.
as an almost 50-year-old man with 4 kids, as much as we love his older music, unfortunately no amount of he made Graduations can justify what he's doing. Ye's reputation is pretty much deep fried at this point. The most recent rant he went against somebody was Cardi of all people, and the reason for that is he was left off music. That's literally it, nothing else. Cardi does something out of everybody Ye called out, Playboy Cardi of all people was the only person to say Ye shut the fuck up and was in the right. You know how bad of a rep you gotta have for Cardi of all people to be the voice of reason. Same Cardi that went to Philly to play the PlayStation with Lil Uzi was giving birth. The same man that Aura farmed and child neglect for 4 years for us to get music. There's no way that is the voice of reason. We are living in a simulation. But that's enough on Ye. The main reason I wanted to talk about this topic in question and make this video is because of 2 specific underground rappers. Well, underground is probably a stretch, but moral of the story, these 2 are basically in the same boat and ironically dropped on the same day a few days ago. Autumn and Nine Vicious. Started with Autumn, aka Twin Uzis, whatever you want to call them, man. So the thing with Autumn is he has a lot of viral songs under his belt, like both Still the Same 1 and 2 and One Way, and is currently at 1 million monthly listeners. So you would think he'd be somewhat mainstream at this rate, right? But there's one small problem from that being the case, and no, I'm not talking about that bum ass manager. We'll get into him in a little bit, but he's not the main reason. It's the consistent allegations regarding him messing with minors. These allegations first came about when Autumn and BK the Ruler was dating, right? Both of them was coming up, and this doesn't sound too bad on paper. 2 underground rappers on the come up dating, fine. But until you do research and realize Autumn was 21 and BK the Ruler was barely 18. She was still 17 while they was dating. So that's strike 1. Another example is when he had a tour in late 2023 for his Midnight Club album. There was DMs that came out that supposedly Autumn was hanging out with underage females by someone who knew the underage females in question. Multiple videos of them said underage females being around Autumn and his manager. Literally in one of the videos you could see that the manager, Satan's greatest soldiers, literally put alcohol in these underage females' mouths. And if you didn't need more confirmation, literally in one of those videos, the female in question, who was still underage, confirmed the fact that they are on a 2-man with Autumn and the manager. And if y'all wanted more confirmation to make matters worse, Autumn himself literally posted on TikTok prior to any of this information coming out that he was going on a 2-man. Strike 2 right there. And he tried to defend himself when all of this came out, saying that she lied about her age. But as you can see on this photo that I'm gonna put on the screen, she showed an ID with no picture on it. I don't know what's worse, the fact that he fell for one of the easiest lies I've seen in a minute, or he's going on 2-mans at the rippling age of 26. Then there was this whole thing with him and this quote unquote influencer, if you catch my drift, by the name of Liberty a few months later, basically because a random person claiming to be Liberty faked her age, saying Autumn was messing with her at 18 when literally Liberty real age is 24. It's kind of hard to explain, but moral of the story, that whole thing was fake. You would think we end off in a positive note, but literally like a month or 2 afterwards, Autumn got caught up again with another underage female. Again? Again. Which in his defense, she did have pictures of her being in a club and photos that look like she's not underage, but nah, it's too consistent to give Autumn any benefit of the doubt. And it hurts me every time that Autumn gets caught up in these situations, because compared to most of his peers that isn't Yeet or Ken Carson, he's the most consistent with the music. Well, that was until his manager came in. Like, bro really got Autumn out here making these IG scammer highlight ass albums. That's probably why bro head is not in a game as it once was, because he's so used to the image of being a rapper, but not the music aspect. Is that got this man talking about making a friend group at the rippling age of 27. That's probably why he keeps getting caught up with these underage females, because of that mentality right there. Some people give him the title of the underground Drake, pretty much, right? And unfortunately, due to circumstances, that title might fit him due to other reasons that isn't music. And it's all because of that Mexican sign off. That's not his, it's not mostly his fault, but I will still bid on that man because he's not making Autumn drop the best music. But that recent album was pretty good though, I'm not gonna lie. So far, by the time of this recording, we haven't heard any allegations of recent from Autumn. Hopefully that stays that way, because again, I like the new album, but I can't say the same for Non-Vicious. A good amount of y'all may or may not know who Non-Vicious is, but all I'm gonna say is he's a very interesting character, to say the least. Let me give y'all a little current insight of what the underground consists of currently. It seems like you need at least one of the three things to blow up as an underground rapper. Not even as an underground rapper, as somebody who's in that lane. If you make music or not, you need these three things. You either gotta have allegations, either copy somebody else, or dress very questionable. Why does Non-Vicious literally check all three of those things? We're already skeptical with Non-Vicious blowing up because of the amount of Twitter pages promoting this man and how unoriginal he came off. And it's low-key still that way, well, the unoriginal part. Basically him being a Young Thug clone and used in a lot of samples in his music. That doesn't make him a bad rapper entirely. It just comes off as he doesn't have an original bone in his body, which is still the case. But there's one thing that makes him stand out. Him dressing very feminine. I wish I made that up. I'm not talking like him wearing a dress, which is still insane, by the way. I'm talking above and beyond that. Like, this man would do his hair like a female and claim to be a bad bitch in some of his songs. Again, I'm not making this up. I'll literally put an example.
Bad bitch, know that I ain't trading.
So this Non-Vicious character, I just explained how he dressed very weird and basically unoriginal. Now, the moment y'all been waiting for, the allegations in question. Now, how these allegations came out, you asked. Basically, a female came out by saying Non-Vicious was speaking to her while she was underage. The age in question was she was 16 and he was 19, pushing 20 at the time. Now, some people feel like that's fine for an age range, others don't. That's neither here nor there. The lowest I do personally is 1 year at most, and even then some people wouldn't agree with that, but that's just me. But the majority was calling him out for it due to his responses, and the way he went about these allegations didn't help his case at all. Originally he was just brushing it to the side until one song called Machiavelli off his Tumblr music album came out recently, and this is what he had to say about it. And as you could tell by them lyrics you just heard, those weren't the best way to respond. If anything, that was terrible. It made the situation worse. So with all the stuff I just named, how does the music hold up in question? I'm not gonna lie, he has a good amount of songs off his Studio Attic album, but recently off his Tumblr music, I wasn't rocking with it. And I definitely was on the hate train at first before the allegations because of his antics being very off-putting. And mind you, his antics are still off-putting. But I'd be damned to support this man in a public setting, because how do you respond to grooming allegations that way I just played earlier and get signed from YSL in the same month? So snitching is where we draw the line, but grooming allegations is perfectly fine. Just as long as the music is perfectly fine or decent enough, we're just gonna push grooming allegations to the side, as long as you don't snitch, right? But the music industry mentality is fucked. And it's sad to say, so is the fans, because they are defending Non-Vicious as well. But like I said in the beginning, as long as you're not defending these acts like the Non-Vicious fans are doing, it's perfectly fine to listen to the music on your headphones, because, yeah, no. Most of these people I would not be playing outside. But then again, R. Kelly still gets played outside, no matter how much shit he gets. I'll still be here, stuck in the name of love. Hey, but I'm just the messenger, but I'm gonna end the video right here. If you like my vids, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow the socials in the description. This is Aunt G's, and take care.